Thank you very much. Welcome to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, friends. It's a pleasure that I was invited to talk to you, and I want to introduce you to our visitor center in Regensburg. We made our visitor center a real meeting point for visitors and locals, and I would like to guide you a little bit through the process of how did we get a visitor center, what was the methodology. So let me start with just our first ideas. In the year 2006, Regensburg was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List, and with the inscription, as you all know, there comes an obligation. The obligation first to raise awareness, to promote our World Heritage idea, and of course to inform about the outstanding universal value. So I think communicating our heritage, this is the main task. We wanted to get that visitor center, and we developed an action plan. I just want to lead you through that process. First of all, the idea was, where can we have that visitor center? Where can be a good location for it? Of course, second step, secure funding. That's always the major issue. We did apply for public money, and we got it. Secure funding, have the location, what then? Think about the content. What do we have here? How do we get an idea of what do we want to show? What do we want to present? How do we do it? So in Regensburg, our concept was to first think about the concept, about design. For that, we started with an official international bidding process, and we came up with a very experienced design office. So that was about only design, but the real content, that's what we developed together with a scientific team. That consisted of professionals from the University of Graz in Austria. They have a master's studies department there, which is focusing on exhibit and museum design, and they really did a great job. But we had now two external parties, a design office coming from a city outside in Germany. We had a scientific team with people from Austria coming to Regensburg. And then we had the question, how can we integrate our local professionals? And that's why we came up with funding an academic advisory board. This consisted of field specialists, and they guided us really through the process. That board embodied professionals from scenography, history, art history, and tourism, all coming from the city of Regensburg. So kind of in a process of getting these three parties together, we came up in the end with our visitor center. Let me introduce you now to the building and the location. What you see here is our World Heritage site, the whole area. More than 1,000 monuments and buildings in Regensburg are protected under UNESCO World Heritage status. You can see the River Danube cutting through in the middle, and a major bridge crossing that river. And it's exactly here where our visitor center is located. On the right-hand side, you see the building itself. It's a huge historical salt warehouse. That building offers us a lot of space. In total, 650 square meters for our visitor center. Now, what was the major challenge in developing that visitor center? We faced the challenge that a visitor center is not a museum, and it had to be attractive for visitors and locals. The visitor center has to be kind of a first contact point. It does not go deep into history, but it has to raise awareness And it has to just offer something for everyone. So what's the major difference between visitor center and a museum? The visitor center offers no collections, no objects on loan or exchange with other museums, no academic staff, no scholarly inventories. But it's the task of a visitor center to maybe interpret singular historical facts, to give an overview, kind of a first impression of our World Heritage Site. And we put a real focus on the visitor. That means for us, how do we get it real and attractive point? That means easy access and free admission. Good opening hours, long opening hours. So it has to be just enjoyable and easy to get into that visitor center, and kind of a self-guided tour. So you can decide yourself if you want to spend 5 minutes or 1 hour. It has to offer all that. It has to address various senses and maybe motivate the public to acquire a deeper understanding of the World Heritage Site. And with a modular principle, we offer all that. This gives you an overview on our permanent exhibition, and just a little bit on the concept and design with a few photographs. So, as we are located in a historical building, it was a real challenge to figure out how the design can address that historical building. So we came up with a spatial concept, and 5 World Heritage themes were just made a focus. And they are shown in cabinets, that's what we call it. And we offer 3 levels of information in a kind of a zoom. So you can just really get deeper into history, into World Heritage topics if you want, but you can just also just wander through and get a first impression. We use multimedia tools, and we also just offer connection to museums in the city. That's done through these little links, as you see on the lower left-hand side, with these little papers. We offer direction to all the museums in the city so that people are really guided from the visitor center and can connect to everything in a deeper way. So this is the permanent exhibition on our first floor, which is more or less interesting for visitors and locals. And we are also offering on the lower floor of our building a modular exhibition space. And that now is the attractive point where we get our locals into that building with offering exhibitions, lectures, presentations. It offers space for up to 50 people. It's a multifunctional area, and with washroom facilities, food bar, cloakroom, it is a very practical thing that you can just use really in a multifunctional way. So this is really the attractive point for the city itself. I also want to talk about challenges. We don't call that problems anymore, right? We just call it all challenges. So what are the challenges that we are facing, that we were facing up to now? It's almost 10 years now that we have that visitor center. And it's always a problem with technical features. So the more technical stuff you put into it, the more problems you have in the end. So steady revision and updating, that's the constant topic for us. We have a very high visitor frequency, more than 350,000 people per year walking through that building. And that means wear and tear all the time. So maintenance efforts, a budget that you need for that. And of course, the exhibition has to be adaptable because also your city changes and technical features change, the requirements in maybe, let's just think about touchpads, the development in all that field. That always means you have to get up to date. So what we plan right now is a real complete revision of our visitor center after 10 years already. But well, we are happy that the visitor center is such a success. And I want to just point out and sum up with you the real success factors that we came up with. So why is it so attractive? Why do we have all these visitors? I put up there what a real estate agent would tell you. What's the most important thing? Location, location, location. Make it an easy to reach spot in your World Heritage Site. Keep it open as long as possible, free admission. Use an interdisciplinary team to figure out what you want to present. Don't offer everything, but focus on main things. That means the didactical reduction, and maybe a modular concept that offers a free guided tour that is also very successful. Various senses, that's always important when we talk about different age groups. And for sure, you all have your own ideas how your World Heritage Site can best be promoted in a visitor center. I'm quite sure that many of you already have a visitor center right by now. Maybe you are still thinking about getting one. I just can say it is a real great thing, and in Regensburg, we say we can only protect our heritage when we know and appreciate it. That's why communicating heritage for us is the main focus, and a visitor center is a great thing to do that. Thank you very much, and now I hand over to Doug.
Right. Thank you very much, Monica. Thank you very much. I think you maybe forgot one thing. Have a seat if you don't mind. There was one thing that I've spoken to a lot of people who've run visitor centers over the years, and one of the things I didn't see on your chart, but correct me if I'm wrong, free bathrooms. The research I've done shows about 50% who come into a visitor center are only there for the free bathroom. So it's important. I was going to do this. We're just going to take 1 second before we go to our coffee break. I know a lot of people are itching to get some morning coffee. I wanted to take advantage of the panel, and I wanted to take David, if you don't mind, you've now seen 2 presentations. Can you offer a few of your insights and reflections on the communication of heritage and what you've taken in here? And then maybe if we have a quick answer there, we can throw out to the audience for one quick question and then go for a coffee break.
I could. Yeah, I'll try. I think what impressed me about both presentations was the involvement of the public. And this is a really hard thing to do because the public knows very little. This is the problem. And there's a great movement in the modern museum world in general to involve the public in curating their own stories, which is fine up to a point. But I do believe that heritage professionals, we're here as professionals. It's our job to guide and inform all the time. So you don't hand over all the control, but you do involve. And I think this is a balance that I think was struck in both Philadelphia and Regensburg.
Excellent.
It seems to me.
Excellent answer. Do we have any questions from the audience before we go? Anyone for anyone on the panel or for David? Any questions? You guys really want your coffee.